It was at that moment where what I would describe it as the gold rush. There was so many new blockchain, crypto, Web3 projects emerging. Different CEOs, different VCs, different founders, asking us how do we become relatable beyond the crypto community. To be honest, if you had called me on a Monday, I might be in New York, and on a Friday, I might be in London, and then the following Monday, I might be in Dubai. We were traveling where the opportunities were.
I'm giving away $100 in every episode. All you need to do is to comment your favorite part of the episode along with your Twitter account, hit the like button, and the winner will be picked up every single week.
I feel like Mr. Boom.
So today we have, as you guys know, we have projects, we have VCs, we have developers, but today we have one of the largest exchanges in the world. Actually, it's the largest exchange of the world. And we have a person that I know for some time, but I don't know her well. And I'm quite sure most of us in the space even share the same thoughts, because when they see anyone from Binance, they only think Binance listing. But we need to know the story behind everyone. So we say, Rachel, how are you?
Nice to see you again, Elja. How are you doing?
Can't complain. I mean, you came a few days ago for the pizza. Yeah.
I'm back again. Yes. I couldn't stay away.
So I want to ask before we start, first of all, you're Rachel, you're the CMO for the largest exchange in the world. And as Hui said, Binance will always be Binance. But before, or let's say why Binance is always going to be Binance, let's see who's the team in Binance. So let us know, who's Rachel? Like, where are you coming from? What did you study? Tell us more about you. How did you raise? What did you study? Like, your real life.
Of course. So I think everyone can tell from my accent I'm originally Irish, and grew up in Ireland. I studied business and economics, actually.
Oh, very nice.
So I studied at Trinity College in Dublin, but then left Ireland very quickly. We always say Irish people are the best version of themselves abroad, and I've been very lucky to be able to travel with my work and travel to several places. I spent 14 years in New York, and New York was really a formative place for my career, because I was working in what I would describe as the belly of marketing, media, entertainment.
Okay.
I worked for a company called Havas there, which is one of the largest kind of global agency networks. And they were part of the Vivendi group, which also had entertainment assets like Universal Group. They had Canal Plus, they had Gameloft. So I got that brilliant convergence of, working in the States, understanding, the belly of media and how it works, but also a very international purview, because we spent a lot of time in Asia, we spent a lot of time in Middle East.
But what you were doing there?
So my role there,
Yes.
Initially what I was doing was managing global brands.
Okay.
So we would work, my clients included, really ran the gamut. I worked with finance brands, I worked with airline brands, I worked with pharmaceutical brands. And then I launched a special division for them, which focused on ultra high net worth. So really around how you use digital transformation and social and community and online, which was new at that time, if we think about it. How we use that to build communities. So
you're still young. Let's not just.
Well, I don't know. I'm aging. I feel very old in the world of crypto. I feel like I'm aging out quickly. But what was really interesting about that is I got to work with brands from like Citibank to LVMH, working with them on how you use digital transformation to connect in a different way with the users, because it had really moved from being a spectator approach to marketing, where you talk at your user, to something that had to be much more experiential, community-based, how you bring the digital world and the offline world together. So, I spent 12 years working there in a variety of different roles. Every time I kind of had my head turned elsewhere, they would hook me back in with a new exciting opportunity. And my last role there was as their chief marketing officer. So that was working on really growing our business, looking at, new revenue streams, new business opportunities. And through that, I really got the opportunity to work closely with Universal Music Group.
You worked with Universal Music. Okay.
Yeah, it was the integration of Universal Music Group and how we use passion points to ignite, users and the fan experience. And it was just such an exciting space because
That was back
so different.
still in the US or Asia? At
Still
that
in
time?
US.
Okay.
Still in US, but it was always in global roles,
Okay.
Elja. So I always had this opportunity to really understand like global marketing, but how the consumers differed by region. So your Asian user is so different from your American user, is so different from, you know, your Dubai-based consumer. So it was a really, really great, what I would always describe as like an MBA in marketing, you know, in terms of like how you need to build plans globally, but really ensure that you're localizing them to connect with the local community. So through that, I had the opportunity to join an agency called Creative Artist Agency. And Creative Artist Agency is based in the US, but it was a time when they were aggressively expanding globally. And because I was trained in the American ways of business, but understood international principles and ways of doing business, I joined in there initially in their US office, and then they moved me over to the UK. And through that, I spent, you know, a lot of time in the Middle East, a lot of time in Asia, a lot of time traveling around, helping global brands understand how to use what we describe as cultural marketing. So how you use sports, how you use entertainment, how you use long-form film, how you use, you know, talent in different ways to connect.
To connect with branding and marketing, right?
Exactly. To connect with your audience and kind of build that emotional connection. And that's really where, you know, my interest was ignited for the fintech and crypto space, because at that time that I joined them.
So 1 second, no.
Okay.
Now you're
Jumping
very
too far.
fast. Exactly. So you studied in Dublin, right?
Yes.
And then you start your work at the US, and then you expanded there.
Yes.
And you also had the same title as a CMO.
Yes, but for an agency network,
For an
which
agency
is slightly
network, yes.
different because
Of
it's
course.
more
Of course.
around working with global brands
Yes, of course.
as well. Yeah.
But I mean, you're still working with global, because Binance is global as well.
Yes.
So you moved to UAE, as far as I know, before all this, or
No, so I first moved from
you
the
got
US.
married as well. What is this
I
part
know.
of getting
Yeah,
married?
family is like the
Yeah.
family happened throughout.
Yeah.
But no, I met my husband over in the US.
Okay.
We got married while we were still in the US, and then I relocated to the UK into the European team at the time, into a role there for Creative Artist Agency, which was as they were expanding globally. And I did that about a year and a half before COVID. So I'm getting my years now all mixed up. But I did that about a year and a half before COVID and spent a lot of the time. Really, while I was based in the UK, I was on the road. So we were working with brands everywhere and anywhere. So spent a lot of time in Saudi. Spent a lot of time
You
here
like
in
Saudi?
UAE. I loved Saudi.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I loved Saudi. Spent a lot of time in the UAE. And then obviously spent a lot of time in Europe and then back in the States. Because that's just, you know, global brands, their headquarters, you know, tend to be in one of those places. So, you know, we were really working with the C-suite and with the chief marketing officers of those brands to help them design, like, what are their cultural programs, whether that be for a new brand, like trying to grow awareness about, you know, who they were, or whether it be about, you know, deepening their relationship in different brands.
And then so how many years you spent in Web2 industry?
In Web2 industry, now you're getting me to reveal my age.
No,
I know
ages,
this is
I
where
know,
you're
I know.
going.
You started at 15 years old.
I
so
know,
it's fine.
yeah, exactly. I started at 12. So I spent 16 years working in the Web2 space. Very lucky that I always got to work at that kind of cutting edge of what was next, because it was a time where, you know, social media platforms or new digital.
I mean, you worked
transformation was
basically, I mean, when you said you were in Web 2, you were in like even 2.5, because I mean, Web 3 doesn't work without branding, or doesn't work without global awareness and partnerships and all this. So you need that anyways for a part of the adoption, right? So tell us now the shift, but be slowly here. The shift in Web 3. Was it like individual first, like you start buying tokens? What made you, I want to know the story.
So I'm going to go back a little bit and then come forward.
That's perfect.
So, you know, when I first moved from Ireland to the US, I didn't have a visa. You know, I wasn't going for a role. I went there to find an opportunity. And as anyone knows who's made that move to the US, like, visas are critical. And it's critical to have a visa in order to be able to really build your life there, because that's how you open your bank account. It's how you get your lease on your apartment. You know, it's how you have your social security number that you become relevant. And when I moved, you know, the first thing you need to do is open a bank account when you move anywhere.
True.
And what happened at that moment was I was not allowed to open a bank account. So I was very lucky and a very privileged position that I had an American-based uncle who was able to, help me set up with an apartment and sign the lease and while I was waiting for the visa. But it really kind of struck a chord with me at that moment that even though, I'd worked very hard and had money to transfer from the UK to the US as part of joining, I couldn't put it anywhere. There was no type of opportunity for me to, because I wasn't legal in New York at that time. So,
but how can you survive?
So,
Let's say, before you say the story about there is a crypto, because now it's obviously you're going to go tell me, crypto solved this for you, but it's really sad.
Yeah, well, to be honest, crypto wasn't really there. It was the nascent stage.
Yeah.
And I was lucky that a few of my college girlfriends had gone deep into the payments industry at that time. And they were in companies like Visa and PayPal.
Mm-hmm.
And, I discussed this issue with them. And they shared with me, well, there's this new common universal currency that's being developed.
Whoa.
Like they were really early adopters.
So you're also OG then?
Well, no, let me explain to you what happened then. Then I got a visa and all those problems went away.
So you didn't, oh shit.
And I got immersed into the world of marketing and media and living like a busy and fun life. And I didn't think about that as a problem again.
Because it got solved.
Exactly. But I was one of the lucky ones it got solved for, and I was in a privileged position at that moment that I wasn't restricted, from ultimately I was still able to go about my day to day and secure that US visa that was so essential at that time for me to be based there. So, cue me working, let's move forward 14, 15 years.
Yeah.
And at Creative Artist Agency, it was at that moment where what I would describe it as the gold rush. There was so many new blockchain, crypto, Web3 projects emerging. And every day, we had incoming from different CEOs, different VCs, different founders, asking us how do we become relatable beyond the crypto community. Okay. So 2017 is when I started really educating myself on crypto and understanding more about it. And then in the course of those kind of 3 years afterwards was when I had the opportunity to really meet, across fintech, across traditional finance, across the crypto space, meet a large part of that ecosystem and what they were growing. And because I had a degree in economics, it didn't come easy to me, the vernacular, but I had like an innate understanding and was able to educate myself on it.
So basically, the first time you had the chance was based on the stress that you couldn't find a way to open a bank account, but it got solved. But then the second time when it came back, 2017, based on the client demand, where do you want to explore this area that's new to them, right?
Yeah, and they all needed help. They all needed help on how they translated out of what was a very strong core audience to what was a more mainstream audience. And that was really about that time, if you think about it, back in 2020, 21 then, where we started seeing, the big Super Bowl ads, the big investments in global sports and entertainment. And we were in a very lucky position at Creative Artist Agency to be working with a lot of the founders on what could be the right partnerships, whether that be talent, whether it be sports IP, whether it be gaming IP. We were kind of building those partnerships to help them translate more into the mainstream consumer and to drive kind of wider adoption.
And that also was back in the US?
It was when I was in a global role where, to be honest, if you had called me on a Monday, I might be in New York, and on a Friday, I might be in London, and then the following Monday, I might be in Dubai. Like the nature of it was pre-COVID. We were traveling where the opportunities were, and we were on the road. That world in sports and entertainment is like 80% a year on the road. So
I think, see, based on your lifestyle and working style, let's say, you would also be able to become a blogger at that time. But
I know, I wish I
forgot.
did. I just didn't have enough time.
So you missed twice things here. Bitcoin
I know.
Well, becoming a blogger, right?
Well, even like social media, there's several friends that I was like, you should become, writers. And they've since done it and been very successful.
It's like full of energy on Instagram. And I'm always seeing it. You have a lot of friends all over and you congratulating them for their success in so many fields.
I'm very lucky.
Yes, alhamdulillah, you're always like well connected, and that shows the amount of years you spent in this industry, which takes time to be matured, right? Even as a Web 2, and that shows as well you built a quite good network and,
thank you,
good
Elja.
calibers as well. So after that, you came to Dubai. I want to see the moment you come to UAE.
So COVID. So
okay.
let me explain what happened. So COVID, we all suddenly couldn't move, and
Yeah.
we were, I was based in London. My husband at that time was based in Saudi.
Oh, okay.
And, we had this tough decision to make where we had to identify, for the first time in our life, we were, forced to make a decision about where we would be based. So I had spent, a lot of time in UAE. I loved the UAE. I loved the lifestyle here. At that time, we were we ended up having one of the COVID babies, for that so many people refer to. And we decided to relocate to UAE, to Abu Dhabi specifically. So that was now 3.5 years ago, and we haven't looked back. It feels like we've been here 10 years, but that was when we made the decision to move to UAE, largely because of experiencing COVID in Europe and the UK, seeing how they dealt with it here. And also, one of the reasons I was so drawn to New York back in the day was the entrepreneurialism and the opportunity. And
Which is also available here.
Which, when I came off the plane here, even during COVID, like the energy in the air, I think everyone has that kind of shared perspective around here. There's just so much going on.
It forces you to work.
It felt like when I'd arrived in New York in 2009, and it had that same level of energy and frisson and tension, which I was excited about.
I mean, the good thing here, at least you weren't too much involved in Web3, because maybe you met your husband in Metaverse and then you didn't even try to move.
I don't think I'd survive
Yes.
in the digital world. We were like pre-dating apps. We're like old married couple at this stage.
Yeah, exactly.
I would not survive in the metaverse dating world that seems to be the common DNA.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in Metaverse before even it's called Metaverse,
Yeah.
like a game called Second Life. It's a Web2 company.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I've been there. I made a few companies there actually before crypto. So you had your first baby, you had him here in UAE.
Our first and only baby, because my other baby is crypto.
So your baby
basically,
is Emirati now, like
basically
yes.
Emirati Irish.
That's nice, mashallah.
So, yes.
And you came here, and of course what you said is true. I mean, UAE is a place, as soon as you land, it just the vibes makes you want to do something.
Yes.
And when you go to Europe, for me, the day can pass like 10 years. It's very, very slow, extremely slow. And people like at 7, 8 p.m., it gets like there's no one in the street.
People leave the office at 6.
Exactly.
Like, it's mind-blowing to me.
Exactly.
So.
I mean, you need to work, and you need to be hungry for success.
Mm-hmm.
And success is what makes people always innovative. Mm-hmm. And that's what AI has a privilege over us, which is they don't stop. And we need to compete, else we're going to be eliminated by them at some point, which is another theories as well. So you came here. We go back to the story of crypto.
Yes.
What happened?
So I came here with the Creative Artists Agency.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a lucky position where they didn't care about your geographic location.
Yes.
So they very much supported me to move here. And at that time, I was still working with a number of fintech and crypto companies, advising them on what their strategy would be, as they were trying to, ensure that they went on that journey to mainstream adoption. Because I think that's everyone's desire in this industry, is how do we bring more people in and how do we invite more people in. At the time, I was doing a lot of work in Formula One and in the soccer space and the music space. And one of the major exchanges, I was in a lucky enough position to work with them on essentially helping them develop what their program was. So I spent several months with them, working with them, and then went internally with them, and haven't really looked back. It was a big move to move from CAA, which was many, like, I get asked often because it was sports entertainment. Was it like the Jerry Maguire film? And in a way, yes, but in a way, no. It was very, for a female, there was lots of opportunities. The sports space, as we've seen over the last 5 years, was, proliferating and growing at such an incredible rate. Formula One, it was the glory years. It really went from being a niche brand to something that's really mainstream. So I had this huge opportunity to grow with that brand, with the company. But I knew that, agency world is amazing. But, when you asked me earlier on, you were the same title within an agency network, what you're doing today. The thing about being that title within an agency network is you work across a lot of projects, a lot of different brands. So you become a jack of all trades, but you don't go deep on one. And so when the opportunity came for Binance, which was to really be able to go deep in the brand, at a time where they'd achieved such success, so you're standing on the shoulders of giants,
True.
but you've an opportunity to scale it to this billion, consumer number that we talk a lot about. It was a no-brainer. So while it was hard to turn my back on the Web 2.5 world and leave that industry, I've deep friends and a deep community there. The draw of being able to go into an industry that was so mission driven and where there's an opportunity to help people at scale solve the issue that I had back in New York when I couldn't open that bank account, when I was 15 years old, a much younger version of myself, it was too compelling to me. So that's kind of the main reason and the main motivation behind, me joining this industry was the opportunity to be at an entrepreneurial business that already had reached such a scale, but to build it even further.
Now, I kept you speaking at the first part because it's fully your story. Binance is a story for everyone. I believe what Binance managed to build is to make Binance close to everyone. Means I've even remember one of the guys that he was speaker on the Binance Blockchain Week in Turkey, Burak, that you guys did few partnership for the esport part. He told me, because I always like to do research. I die if I don't get always involved. What's happening here? What's happening? Do analysis for a reason or without any reason. I just like to collect information. He told me what Binance made in Turkey. That even if a driver in a taxi, he speaks about Binance as he owns Binance, and he doesn't speak about the rest the same. He used the rest as a platform, but when he speaks about Binance, he feels a part of this identity.
Yes.
The question is, what is I'm not going to say the secret sauce. What's the direction of Binance from the marketing and branding perspective? Do they care about just going with big brands? Do they care about or they care about the small retailers, the normal people? What is the strategy focused? Because I've seen other companies, they just care about branding, but they forget the retailers. And that's makes it's becoming a Web 2 company and a big gap between this and the retailers. And for me, that's a big failure and a big arrogant concept. If you're just gonna ignore the retailers, which you made the money from them, they are the reasons for you to be today what you are or where you are, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go out and just spending only in Web 2 branding and forgetting about them. Binance, no, they managed to capture both, yet I see them more into the retailer level. Mm-hmm. So what is the methodology? I know maybe you cannot share all the methodologies, but
I'll try and share as much as I can, Elja. It's a great question, actually. And look, I am in a very privileged position of helping guide our brand now in this next chapter. But I want to be very clear. Okay. I'm standing, as I said earlier, on the shoulders of
a
giants.
big shoulder, that's true.
And, there's a lot that I try and learn from the way that they built the business so that we don't lose what is that connection with the community that you described so beautifully. Turkey being one example of many countries
100%.
Where we have that brand recognition and that brand engagement from what is an extraordinary community. We are the largest, but we try... That's not what defines us. That's not what the core of the brand is, And I think as of today, we're standing at 194 million registered users.
Oh, that's amazing!
So we're en route to hitting a 200 million milestone, user base shortly, and the majority of those are retail users, and they are, it goes back to one of the core values when Binance first started, that CZ, Hayi, and the rest of the founding team focused on was, let's be user obsessed and let's ensure that we are designing everything, whether that be product, whether that be experiences, whether that be our marketing, community events, in order that it connects with the user in the right way and in a way that they want. So that still very much guides everything that we're doing. And let's be clear, we would be nothing without that user base.
True. And that's what most of them really forget.
And I think that's what we try on every leadership call or on our marketing calls internally, We really try and focus on, is this a behavior, or is this an action, or is this a campaign, or is this an event that's going to connect with the users in the way that they want us to? So, and that's critical, way we, guide our marketing moving forward. In terms of like the bigger positioning, I like to talk about us as a global brand, a global business, which we are. We operate we have, I think, 233 social handles across, 75 countries at the moment. So, but why we do that is so that we can connect in a local way, in the language, in the culturally local way. So for us, it's very important, having a global positioning, but ensuring that it's interpreted in a way that's relevant for the Asian user, for the Dubai-based user, for your French Parisian, who thinks about crypto very differently.
We say French, we say hi to David.
Big hi to David Prince and the team in Paris.
It's actually one of the things, like when you were like now describing, I even was thinking, even many employees inside Binance, they consider Binance as it's their own.
Yes.
Like one of them is David. Like David, he's willing to put everything for Binance. His time, his effort, even sometimes he's a hard fighter as far as I heard, but he doesn't care. He cares just for Binance. He loves Binance, and the same as many people inside Binance. The same as also Willie. Willie is one of the guys that we know on Binance for many years, and I personally see him genuine and very simple, the same as Binance as well. Now we went from France, we come back to Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
So because I want to fix this to the industry, everyone sees Rachel, they say, oh, Binance listing, oh, Binance Labs. And this is not Binance. I mean, one of the good things actually, or the funny things, I used to be with Binance when I used to be anonymous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Many years. None even knew how I look.
Mm-hmm.
They just heard my voice. So I speak with them in calls, regardless of BNB chain, Binance P2P, product part. None knew how I look. And I was communicating with CZ in social media. He doesn't. And when I came, I saw CZ for the first time, and he was the one doxing me. I've never went to CZ. When I saw people like, hi CZ, how are you? I've never done it. Never. Actually, in fact, he was the one coming and telling me, hey, Elja, can we speak? And because he knew I'm not trying to just say, hey, CZ, how are you? Can we list this? Because this market is so much full of these people. They don't want to be educated. They don't want to learn about things. They just want to list their projects, make money, and leave. And that's for a short term, it's fine. But to build an industry, you have to be a bit genuine. Huh? Don't be fully opportunistic. Yeah. So what is Rachel's main role? For sure, are you listing? Just to clear it.
I am not listing.
Exactly.
I am not listing. I find out, and I want to be really clear about this, when projects are listed, I find out when the community finds out. That's how our marketing team finds out.
I hope now this message is very clear.
And that ensures that we have, the right levels of transparency and the right levels of compliance, and we're ensuring the user safety. So that's critical to us. It's very stressful because we'll often find out, about a launch pool or about mega drop, in the moment, and we're rushing and we're scrumming to ensure that we get what we describe as the marketing plan and the go-to-market out in social and community in the right way. But that's really critical for our founding team, in order to ensure that there is transparency, and that there's no special preferences or special treatment, given to one project over the other. So while I love hearing about new projects and hearing about what the community is creating, and what they're working on, BBW was a perfect opportunity. I had the opportunity to sit with so many founders and understand what they were doing and kind of hear what's next. Unfortunately, I'm not part of the
But that's what I'm
committee.
saying. It's good from the education and learning about it. That's called the genuine
it's critical.
part.
That's what helps you understand what the community wants.
Exactly. And you can build your marketing plans based on the community mindset. For an example, memes. Back in the last bull market, it was almost forbidden to have it listed. Now it's becoming the hype.
Yeah.
Do we like it? maybe not.
Yeah.
But that's what is the majority are doing today, or they are liking it. So if you're a gap of this as a marketing or as any part of any industry in this, you're gonna be left behind.
Yes.
So yes, it's good for you to know and understand, but doesn't mean you're a part of this process. And people need to understand that in Web3. They need to stop a bit to become too much opportunistic. They need to be a bit genuine, because be a little bit opportunistic, but some genuine as well.
Yeah.
So now, Rachel, you are the CMO of Binance. Let me ask it this way. What is the duty of Rachel besides marketing? Like, what you handle, like what is Rachel as
on a day-to-day basis?
Yes.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to be clear. I'm the chief marketing officer, but I have an incredible team of 218 marketers.
218. 18. Okay.
18. Well, 219 any
I said
given
19.
day.
Maybe I'm hiring someone.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I have an incredible team behind me. Across many of these countries that we work lockstep to ensure that we're delivering our global, our regional, and our local plans in the right way. Obviously, that can range on any day. I have social that reports into me. I have community. I have creative, which is our brand identity, like the look and feel. I'm involved in the swag decisions. I'm responsible for BBW. I have an incredible events team. We hosted 300 events in Q1 alone, including some big events as well as the smaller community meetups, which are equally as important. So that's my global team. That really is focused on like how do we design like the playbooks that then are pushed out to the regional and local markets, whether that be here in Dubai to our MENA team who's responsible for the Middle East, or whether it be to David Prince and the team in Paris that like work closely across Europe. So I'm very lucky. I have a very diverse role that is focused on anything from the global perspective or the regional perspective. It really is a dream job for a marketeer, especially in an industry that's growing at the pace that we are.
True.
I think what keeps me up at night is how we ensure that we stay deeply, deeply connected with the core community that is the crypto and blockchain community that has grown us to who we are, because it's their word of mouth that has built us into the business and the brand that we are today. But then also, how do we invite new users in? When I think about new users, I think about my sister, I think about my father, I think about my best friend, who can still be a little intimidated by the world of crypto. They see it talked about a lot. They know they have FOMO. They don't want to miss out.
Exactly.
But like the other side of my role is like, how do we bring more users in and drive crypto adoption? Because Elja, you and I have talked about this. We're still only at 10% globally.
We're very, very even.
So nascent.
True.
We're really at the building stage still. Like it's the building blocks are being laid. So a big part is like, how do we balance that and ensure that we're keeping the existing community content, happy, engaged, that we're taking their feedback, that we're optimizing our product, optimizing our user experience for them, but also at the same time, using education and using partnership collaborations as a way to invite others in. So ultimately, that's better for everyone. That grows the total size of the industry.
So, just again, from Web 2 to Web 3, your lifestyle, did it change? I mean, do you work more here? Or no, still from 5 to 6? And
I'm Irish. We're like the Middle Eastern. Like we're like the Saudis. We work. I've always been driven by work.
Like Chinese also.
Yes, exactly.
Chinese
exactly.
The working the AI of human.
Yeah, it's like something. I'm very lucky. I've always worked. I'm very lucky in every role I have. I've always learned and constantly been challenged and constantly had the opportunity to educate myself, which I don't think everyone is lucky enough to do. So I still feel like I'm straight out of university learning a whole industry at the moment. It's that keeps me young and keeps me passionate. In terms of what's changed, the pace of this industry is much faster.
True.
Decision making is much faster. But I think that my experience in agency world, which is very agile, you're working across a lot of clients, very demanding clients, you're meant to be one step ahead, has really set me up well for this industry, because it's similar in terms of the pace and in terms of the pace of change as well. And look, I'm very privileged. I've been able to hire some incredible people. And I always say you should hire people that are smarter than you.
True.
because that's what, ultimately, that's what drives everything forward. So, that's where we are at the moment.
And that's what's how Binance hopefully always going to be.
Hopefully, yes.
I always say that because you cannot really know
Yeah.
the future, but you
I know,
always aim for
inshallah.
the best.
Yeah.
Inshallah, exactly. Oh, mashallah, you're ready. So the point here, you have a community, and Binance community is one of the largest organic community. There are products inside Binance, right? Now you come in the middle, which you are handling the marketing and the branding, etc. Do you also get involved to the level of the product inside Binance? Okay, see,
Yes.
because you only told me about swags and etc.
I know. I was trying to because it's a lot of marketing. So
Yes.
one of the big areas, and the team reports into me, is product marketing.
Okay.
So product marketing is about how we bring our new products to market. So spot copy trading,
Yeah.
for example, how we build that and launch it to the market in the right way. But another strand to what we do is how we take feedback from the users, from the community, and ensure that that is being filtered and prioritized with the product team. So
To be fixed. I mean, if they find something not good from user
Exactly.
experience, maybe. So that's also a part of the things.
That's
you
also
do.
part of when the roles. Now,
Okay.
that's not exclusive to marketing. That's truly a collaborative effort.
Okay, yeah, but I mean,
with our product
you
teams
still have a voice where you can just take these notes and give it to the product team.
And spot copy trading is a really good example
True.
of that. We spent in Token 2049 in Singapore last year. When I sat down, we had a number of breakfasts with the community, with several very well-known KOLs, with several retail users, and the common kind of feedback I kept getting is we need spot copy trading. We need to have that. At the time, we were about to launch futures copy trading. But through being able to filter that feedback from the community about what was their priority and what they needed in order to grow their businesses, and whether that be individually or their collective communities, spot copy trading was something that was really critical. And that's where we directly, in what I would describe as a tentpole way, have been able to deliver what I think is a great product. Always need to build and perfect and optimize the experience. But that was a direct response to a community request.
Have you ever thought? Now I'm sharing new ideas. Since there are so many people, even from Binance Angels, I mean, some of them are really OGs from day one till today. That girl, what's her name? There is one lady, she's very loved by CZ also.
Patricia?
Yes.
Binance Mama,
Yes.
we call her.
Yes.
Yeah, she's our head of community.
Yes, she's been all this years at Binance, right? Is there anything called, for an example, Binance Community Council?
So
where it's only 10, 15 people, but not 100 people. Real 10, 15 people, the genuine ones, that they've been all these years doing this based on love and passion for Binance and CZ and the history of Binance and the branding of Binance. And they want to really be a part, which you're gonna leverage them, giving them a bigger voice to be listened to. Because if you're gonna listen to everyone, you're almost listening to no one.
It's my segues. This is perfect. So just to those that don't know, the Binance Angel community is 550
Yeah,
ambassadors
I know, it's
globally.
huge.
Just to those that may not be aware, that really, they work off the good of their passion
And by the way,
their love
none of them is being paid
for this industry. No one is
Yes.
paid. They support us in educating the community and ensuring that whether it be our community events that we have in person or the online AMAs that we do, that we're servicing the community in the right way. And this has always happened, but we're trying to do this in a more formal way, just given the scale that we're getting into. We constantly invite the angel community to give us feedback on what they would be and what we should be improving. So as a result, on a weekly basis, we have on Wednesdays on social, we have what we call Binance Build. So that's an online feedback tool where any user, angel, user, Binancean, can give feedback on what we need to optimize. And what we're showing now on a regular basis, on that weekly basis, is direct kind of correlation with you gave us this feedback. This is how we've changed it. Now, you know this more than anyone, Elja, with development and with product design, it can take longer than 24 hours
True.
to affect these, but we like to keep the community updated on what the status of those requests is. And Binance Angels have been a critical, channel for us to hear from whether it be their direct ideas or their broader individual communities that they've all built now in their own right.
And they join what, like a Zoom call or what?
So we have monthly Zoom calls with the Binance Angels, and as part of that, they give us feedback. They also complete surveys where they share information with us or ideas with us. We'll often hold, whenever we do, bigger super meetups, we often hold smaller breakfasts with the angels and with the community. Like what I describe them as, it's a marketing term, but focus groups to hear what they would improve and why. And we're getting better at giving the feedback on what's been affected and what we're parking for the next round of changes. But we're constantly trying to use the community feedback and the user feedback to optimize and enhance the product. Because more than anyone, this bull run is going to be one in UX and UI and how good your product is. And we have a high expectation on us as one of the largest to ensure our product is top of the line and superior. I would liken a lot to where Apple was, and where we need to get to in terms of how they use user feedback to optimize.
Binance is the largest exchange. Again, this is my kind of opinion. No one is perfect.
No.
And I'm quite sure CZ himself also, he said he made mistakes. And everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah.
But the way he took it, I even made a tweet. I said he took one for the industry. Mm-hmm. And I'm really happy it was dealt in a very good way, and the 4 meant good meanings, and it wasn't bad. I'm happy. He did a brave move, which requires a lot of strength. I want to say a lot of balls. I'm going to say it. It requires a lot of balls, and most of the people will not do it. But because the guy know that he's a good guy, and what he's done, all done by good intention, and that's why he went. And I'm happy from the justice that they saw it in the right way. And hopefully we see him coming back soon with Giggle Academy. I don't like the name, just to be honest. It's too much,
No comment.
That's me. The name is a bit, girly for me. But anyways, the concept is great because you want to educate the majority of the human being, which are the young youth, right? And to educate them in a fun way rather than just watching a stupid cartoon having a weird agenda behind, which is we're seeing recently. You want to at least give them something with value to learn. So the concept is great. I hope the name would be a bit, for boys and girls, so it's not too much girly. I'm supporting women in Web3, but we need a bit, to make alpha stay alpha as well, right? So hopefully we see him back again. I come to Binance NFTs. Do you play any role on it? Because I think, like Cristiano, etc. Tell us more about it.
So I think NFTs and fan tokens are an amazing entry point for a mainstream user. Well? Okay. Yes, they're an interesting entry point for users. Mm-hmm. And, if I bring you back to when I was at Creative Artists Agency, they were the products that we were spending a significant amount of our time working on with our talent on how they could use these Web3 technologies to connect in a more direct way with their users. Obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo is one of our partners. I worked with a creative artist agency, nice. And then I was very lucky, obviously, to inherit him when I joined Binance as one of our partners. And I think that is a perfect example. We have our Drop 4 that was just, we teased it last week. It's announcing on the 29th. We have our Drop 4, but that's an amazing tool and way to bring the Web3 and Web2 community together, because there's an opportunity for you, and it has to be it has to be utility. True. It's not just about, I love art. Art is one of my passions outside work. But NFTs are sometimes what I would say diminished to being like a digital piece of art, but there's so much more from that when you think about the utility that
I
can
mean,
be
2
added
years ago,
into
the
them.
community would have had a big fight with you saying this now, but now they at least saw it when they're all PFP pictures went to the ground without any utility, right?
Exactly, and I think that utility is really critical. And with what we're doing with the partners, whether it be Cristiano Ronaldo, whether it be Alpine, whether it be Santos and CBF in Brazil, it's an opportunity to bring fans in who are obsessive, like they're cult followers of these icons and of these sports properties, and help them connect more meaningfully in a direct way that even social media doesn't allow you to.
True.
So, I was really lucky last year to be with Ronaldo when we were filming one of our upcoming advertisements. And during that day we were with him, we were speaking to the Drop 2 community that had engaged. And Ronaldo was having live Zoom calls with 3 of the NFT holders. And that's an opportunity. When are you going to be able to create that and make that happen and understand what is the experience that is going to engage and attract that user? And that's the beauty of them. From a marketing perspective, I think they will be essential as part of the 3.0 of what I describe as customer relationship management. So loyalty programs. They're really Web3 technologies have the opportunity to completely transform how loyalty is done, whether it be airline, whether it be banking, whether it be your Starbucks, your Starbucks loyalty program. Sure. I think that's where Web3 technology can really be implemented and used in an exciting way to improve the overall fan experience.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really thinking of the fan tokens, but yes, it makes completely sense. There are also some requests from the loyal fan base of Binance. They are having a request, and I'm asking, this is in front of you here. Again, guys, everyone knows my shows, nothing is being planned, so everything is organic. They are sad about the merchants because every place, it has different type of merchants. I'm one of them. I want the umbrella of Binance. Why I don't have it? I've been with Binance, I don't know, 6-7 years now when they started. And I'm only having things coming in this region and China. I love China, thank you. Binance China, they always with me as well. But I want the umbrella for an example. Let's say I'm traveling to country. I would rather have an umbrella that has a Binance logo. When we can have, let's say, a setup basket for the people who are at least the Binance angels who've been 5, let's say for an example, you achieve 5-6 years, I don't know, whatever time you're supporting Binance, you love Binance, at least you should have the privilege of selecting items to come.
That's a good idea.
Customized, because I'm getting things I don't use it, right? But there are things I'm going to use on a daily basis, or I love to have it, but I cannot reach it. And it's not going to really be a big problem, because at the end, not everyone going to have it. Is the people who supported Binance for all these years. I think they have the privilege, because this comment came to me from some people from Binance Angel when they saw my stuff, or I saw their stuff. Where did you get this? This is from blah, blah, blah. I'm like, huh? Why I don't have it? And then I start asking, guys, why this is not for us, this is for another region, right? But I want it.
Well, I will make one point. Merchandise is so important, yes. And it's such a great, it brings the brand to life in such an amazing way. And I can't even get my hands on some of the original merchandise.
Sure.
I saw that you've got some things in here that I
trust me, if I cannot reach it, you cannot reach it as well. I go spam everyone inside Binance.
But what I will say is running what you've described, which is an online store, that's a very different business with logistics and with producers and with a lot of designers and everyone involved. So while we endeavor to do what we can and produce as much merchandise as we can, and you will be blown away by the number of sheer units that the team produces, it's also just down to some of the restrictions we have in terms of geographically being able to get product from here to Brazil or from here to Vietnam, for example.
Oh, really?
So we are trying to work, and there's actually a really interesting Web3 company that's trying to solve that problem. So we are currently in the market trying to look at ways in which we can, I would describe it as democratize the merchandise and make it more ready available. We'll never charge for our merchandise. That's one thing that the leadership team and we're very clear on, because it's a gift, and
of course,
a gift from us to thank and to support the community for the support they give us back. But we're always looking to see how we can optimize. So I'm not going to say yes to this right now, but I promise I will keep you updated
But again, I'm
on
saying
whether we can solve it. But it's a great, like these are
it can be like a gamification.
Exactly.
After you spend extra time and you
Yeah.
supported Binance all over this time, it's like a bundle. Again, when you're not talking about
you points
10,000,
where you can.
not 10,000 people gonna take it. It's just the people.
You'd be
who are-
surprised.
True, actually,
So
at Binance
that's where
is-
we
at
need to be
Binance-
careful. I
at
think we have
Binance is true. Actually, yes.
I
You're
think
gonna
we
find
had,
many.
I think we had something like 10,000 units alone for the Mid Autumn Festival
Wow.
last year.
Wow.
So it's pretty incredible. But no, it is a really good idea to be able to personalize and customize more what you'd require.
I want the umbrella, so we can be friends.
Well, there is one coming. So
Another one as well.
yes.
No, I saw the one before at France,
We have another one.
and I forgot to take it with me.
It's
My
a surprise,
mistake.
though.
Yeah.
I promise. I'll hand deliver that one. So-
Because I want, like, I love to use Binance. I think you just entered my office and you saw almost it's like being sponsored by Binance, which is in reality not. This is all my merchants, right? But there are things I can use it my daily basis, but I need to have it with me.
It goes back to function
Yes.
as well. We always try and make them like beautiful but functional, and that's critical for us as well.
And then Binance always, I think it's the most wanted merchants in all Web3.
Based on our events and the requests I get,
Yeah.
and the Telegram and social requests, we're definitely in demand.
No,
but
they
that's
love
very
Binance.
lucky.
Everyone loves
That's
Binance.
very
That's
lucky.
for sure. Who doesn't love Binance, he need to leave Web3, in my kind of opinion.
Oh, thank
Yet,
you.
Yet nothing's perfect.
No, and we're definitely not perfect, and we've made mistakes. But I think we are very much focused on this next chapter and how we continue to build for the community, and ensure that we are connecting with the community in the right way. I
That's
hope
true.
that's one thing that's really clear from this piece and this interview that we're doing, is that the community is king for us. We wouldn't be here without them.
That's how Binance been, and that's
Yeah.
how always will be. Now we come to Richard.
Yes,
Now Richard, he's the CEO of Binance.
he is.
I don't see Richard, like I want to see Richard as much as I used to see the old leadership. And I understand Richard is coming more from the regulatory perspective, which is very, very important at this stage in Binance, right? But I want to see him as well a bit more casual. I know maybe, again, it's not that easy because you're coming from too much regulatory mindset, you come as well with that shape into an industry all done by them degens, let's go. It's totally different mindset, which is way big gap, right? Like I've seen even some of your pictures with some KOs, etc., doing like this. Of course, you want to go in Web 2, it doesn't work this way, but you're ready to change based on the new standard in Web 3, right? Even I myself, I cannot do it sometimes. It's really hard for me. I was really surprised. I was like, you did something I cannot do even myself, right? So, and that's amazing. That actually shows that you have that crazy energy, and which is very, very good.
Mad Irish person,
Yes,
someone may
maybe.
say.
Yeah, actually, that's true. Actually, that's very true. When are we gonna see Richard with us more? Like, I really want to see Richard because I've met him once only. I want to see him in my show as well, to know him more, to make people know him more. And he was like really genuine. So maybe you need to be. I mean, is that a part of the marketing plan, or it's totally far?
Not that's not part of the marketing plan. First of all, Richard's an incredible talent,
Yeah.
and we're very, very lucky to
For
have
sure.
him as a CEO.
100%.
And CZ's shoes are very hard to fill, and Richard will never be CZ. And we talk about this a lot. CZ was the founder of the company, and he built it to where it is today. And Richard is taking over at a time where we really need to focus on regulation and compliance
Which is
and
amazing.
ensure
It's
we're
really
setting
amazing
ourselves
you're
up.
doing it.
So I know he would love the opportunity to spend more time with the community. But I think if you follow his Twitter or Instagram or LinkedIn alone, you can see the volume of countries he's visiting at the
Yes.
moment to ensure
Lately
that
he was
we
in
are.
France.
Yeah, exactly. He was in France last week. I believe he's in Asia at the moment. So, he has a big task on his hand, which is to ensure that we're building in this next chapter, in the right way. And as we know that is regulation, that is the future. We're very lucky that we have 19 licenses and growing. But that is a really big role to be sitting with the regulators in
And
all
it's
of these
not an easy role
countries,
for him at all.
understanding how we help. In places like Dubai with VAR, we're very lucky. They're very progressive. it's very collaborative. They're building in the right way. But there's a lot of countries that still, have a lot to learn and need their hand held, and we need sandboxes. We need to educate them on the value
Which
of crypto.
Binance are hiring the right talents over there. What I like about Binance, they're hiring the right talents to be sure that everything is done in the right way, in the right time. So, and yeah, I mean, like you have, I think I saw the news, the guy from, I think it was Uzbekistan or something?
Yes. Kazakhstan. So, yes, I was just in Kazakhstan, where we, our general manager for Kazakhstan has recently, Jazlan has just been made the Minister for Digital.
And that's
which is incredible accolade, in a market
big
that
succession.
size, and what Kazakhstan has done in terms of their digital transformation, how they've embraced the crypto industry, and how they've embraced.
It means Binance are hiring the right talent.
We're very lucky
Maybe
that
we'll
way.
see you the president of your country one day, maybe.
You never know. I think my parents and my friends might be scared by that. But no, in that way, what I would say is Richard tries to spend as much time as he can in the community. He definitely prioritizes and clears his diary when there's like big meetups like Pizza Day or 7 Year that's coming up, to ensure he's with the community. But he also has, a big task on his hands. So, we'll try and bring him into the community as much as we can, but he is one person as well. And I do think, Elja, we've spoken about this a lot. I think this is where you'll see a lot more faces from Binance, and the people that are responsible for different parts of the business, coming forward. So I think that will be an opportunity to kind of learn more about who we are and the DNA of our people.
For me, I need to educate people. That's the part that even CZ, he always loved. He wanted to educate people. And maybe that's why Google came out. Because CZ, by the way, he's a very humble person.
Yes.
And if people know him as a personal level, he's a very humble person. He's willing to take negative feedback. And if he knows it, and I don't want to share it, but I had the chat with him, he right away admitted and he said yes, and he want to solve it. And you will not find this in 99% of the space because they're not enough genuine. And that's what made Binance Binance. And that's what Hui says, Binance will always be Binance. And that was that few days ago in the pizza when she was serving pizza to people. And she was even humble. She said, my pizza is not good.
Yes.
Another guy will come and do it. They care about sending these messages. Yeah. And I like to check. So I didn't see someone telling her, say like this. No, she was just saying it based on her genuine intentions, right?
I would say that goes beyond leadership, though. It's every level. Like CZ and Yi and the broader founding team introduced like that core value of humility and user obsession. But humility is something that's a common thread within the broader Binancean team. And it's something that when we're interviewing, it's critical you identify that those people who can be humble know when they've done well, but also know when they've made a mistake and know how they have to improve.
And that comes also to Binance Angels. Binance Angels, I know them when they started, and I know many employees that today currently working at Binance, they used to be Binance Angels. And they didn't get any money being a Binance Angel, right? And I think David was one of them.
Yes,
now he's the
we have several.
He's the president of the Binance France.
Yes.
And he used to be a Binance Angel. There is Mo, the one from Lebanon. He's working in the social or I don't know what's his role.
Mox, our community.
Yeah, community manager in MENA region. He used to be a Binance Angel. Rida, he used to be a Binance Angel. And
we have several angels joining.
The list in Italy, and the list is really, really big. And I think, no, I'm actually sure that the biggest community or the biggest angel under this title angel is Binance by far. No one was able or will be able at any time to have what Binance built from the loyalty infrastructuring from people and fan base. And they're really loyal to the brand, loyal to CZ. Look at CZ's case. When it happened, everyone was supporting him. No one was like, hey, how are you? Take $10,000 and tweet about CZ. It was never happened. It will never happen. It was genuine people typing about CZ. Maybe they met him once, but one with his level, being genuine with one, you own his loyalty for the lifetime. And he's genuine by default. And Rachel, thank you very much for coming. We spent an hour. it was really fast because we're willing to make 2-3 hours, but then people are gonna sleep. And I know as well you're busy to capture your next flight. But next time maybe become a blogger, right?
I know. I'll get you to advise me
yes,
on that one.
For sure. Thank you for coming, Rachel. Rachel, the CMO of Binance. Thank you for coming, and hopefully to see you next time when you have achieved a new milestone at Binance. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Elja, and thank you so much to the community, your community at home that's listening to us.
My community is Binance community, so listen. Thank you very much. It's not just a room.
It's the room of Eljaboom.
Let's go!
I'm just tryna play with Moon. We could hit the city, baby, what you tryna do? Catch me out in Quirksville, big shout out to Doom. I'm looking at the floor price, hey Brody, where the broom?